Hey everybody, Ryan FMG here, and today we are finishing up our set review for the brand new set BOA. And we are finishing off with talking about all the black cards. And black is kind of exciting because there seems to be a lot of spirits. So the big question on my mind going into this is, how good can a spirits deck be? Also, Oichi is the new hero, so sometimes that color gets a little bit more love from the new set because, well, there's a hero and we want to play it. So let's jump right into it. What are we talking about first is Dark Whisperer's Oichi. This is her legendary card. It is 10 MP for a 3/8 human spirit. There's a whole paragraph, so let's just jump right into it. While in your hand or EX pocket, whenever a friendly spirit unit dies, give this unit -1 MP. MP cost cannot drop below 1. Okay. That seems really, really nice. Attacking. Place a random unit in your graveyard with an MP cost of 5 or less onto the field and change its HP to 1. Of note, that card does not have to be a spirit, it's just 5 MP or less. Ascend. Gain +1/+2 and place a random spirit unit in your graveyard onto the field. This does so much, and I'm so excited to play with this because as long as there are good spirits in black, this card seems really good. This seems really powerful. Yes, if there aren't that many good spirits, then this card goes very, very far down. Of note, you could play this in a 2-color deck as long as you can get enough -1 MP abilities. So this card has me excited. Priestess is the other black legendary card, and this is 6 MP for 1/5 human. Okay. 6 MP for 1/5 is nothing I want to play. Better do something more. It has Veil, so it can't be targeted. That's nice. Whenever a human unit dies, so this could be something you have or something the opponent has, but it does have to be a human unit, becomes Fox Demon Ninetails. Now what does Fox Demon Ninetails do? It is 9 MP. Well, you're not casting it, just automatically gets there. For a 4/9. With Veil, that says, when your opponent uses an action card, destroy a random enemy unit. That is ridiculous. One, this has Veil, so it's going to be harder and harder to kill. Anytime they use an action, get out of here, opponent's units, you're done for. That is so good. However, you do have to play Priestess in a human deck. Maybe not a full-on human deck because it only really needs one other human to die, or you hope that your opponent is playing some humans. But as long as you can build it around enough to trigger her, Fox Demon Ninetails is such a powerhouse that this will be a headache for your opponent to deal with. Blight is a 5 MP 4/1 spirit with shield. Death, give all enemy units -2 HP. I really like this card. One, it's a spirit, and we're starting to see more and more love for spirits, and I think spirits will be a deck. Maybe not the best deck, or maybe the best deck. Who knows? We'll find out soon, hopefully. But 5 MP for a 4/1 with shield, so this means it basically gets hit twice, then it will die, giving all enemy units -2 HP. Also, what's nice is it's -2 HP. It's not 2 damage, so this doesn't care about shields. I really like Blight quite a lot. Two foxes, I love this art. It's just like 3 fox friends just chilling, having a grand old time. It is 3 MP for a 2/4 spirit with agility. I love 3 MP efficient things. I love agility keyword. It's a spirit, tell me more. Death, remove this unit from the game. That's kind of sad because spirits kind of want to resurrect over and over and over again, but this cannot happen. However, it does have Ascend, gain +1/+1, and Death, place this unit in the same board slot. So if you Ascend this, it becomes a 3/5 with agility that when it dies, it just instantly comes back to that board slot, and then your opponent has to deal with a 2/4 with agility. That is nice. It's just like resurrection in a can. I really like these foxes. 10k is 6 MP 3/5 human. Revenge, gain +1/+3. When placed on the field, deal 3 damage to the unit in front. Your hero gains life equal to the damage dealt. So 6 MP for a 3/5, I do not like those stats. Even when you get the deal 3 damage to the unit in front and you gain that life, I am still kind of off of that because 6 MP for a 3/5 is too low. However, with the revenge, that means the revenge cost is going to be 3 MP for a 4/8 with that effect. that makes me like this card a whole lot more. However, you still have to play it the 6 MP version. It has to die, and then you get the revenge. But that could be worth it. Thunder Doom Mirror is 3 MP for a 3/3 spirit. Death, give a random spirit unit with an MP cost of 2 or more in your hand or EX pocket -1 MP. This is going to be a great curve filler if spirits are good, because you obviously need to play this with a lot of spirits to always constantly get that death ability. 3 MP for a 3/3 is nothing terrible, but it's nothing you're going to play outside of spirits. But hey, if you are playing spirits, this is a good curve filler, as well as it's making a spirit in your hand or EX pocket cheaper. That is a card that I will play. Benkey is 5 MP for a 3/5 victory. Give a unit with an MP cost of 4 or less in your graveyard, +1/+3, and return it to the EX pocket. I don't really like this card, I'll be upfront. 5 MP for a 3/5 is pretty weak stats for sure. And then also its its ability is a victory trigger. One, I don't love victory triggers because those are the hardest to trigger. And two, this is on a 3/5 body. This will need help. A lot of help. This will need shields or pump spells or evasion or something like that. And I don't want to do that. Yes, it is nice that you do get a unit from your graveyard of MP cost 4 or less to your EX pocket, but it's not making that card cheaper. However, it is getting a +1/+3, and that is very good. So the effect is nice. I just think it will be too hard to trigger that effect with this body. Emperor with a very, very creepy art is 5 MP for a 2/10 human. While on the field, all other units gain -1 HP every 10 seconds. This is all units. Your units, your opponent's units. Emperor does not care. I don't know how much I like this card. It is 5 MP for a 2/10. 10 is a lot of HP, 2 is very little attack. This will stick around the battlefield, and that's exactly what you want, because you want that -1 HP every 10 seconds. If this was a spirit, I think I'd be a little bit more into it. Just because spirits want to kill things, and even if some of your spirits dies, that's okay. It being a human, I think I'm a little off Emperor and his green cloud of grossness. Sen is 3 MP for 1/8, while HP is 4 or less, gain +2 attack. This is kind of interesting because when its HP gets weaker, its attack becomes stronger. So it basically needs to lose 50% of its attack, or sorry, its HP, in order to get +2 attack. So then it would be like a 3/4. That's cool. I just don't really see playing this, like, especially that it's a human, and in a human-centric deck, I think there's just other better 3-drops to be playing, so I don't really see a home for this card. Executioner Guardian is 3 MP for a 1/6 spirit. While on the field, other friendly spirit units gain +1 attack. Now this is the card that I was waiting for, because a lot of tribes have an Anthem effect. An Anthem effect is usually pumping up its attack, sometimes pumping up the HP, and this is going to be the spirit's Anthem attack. What is really, really nice is that it's just 3 MP. It is a 1/6, and this does not get pumped by its Anthem because it says other friendly spirits. But 6 HP means that it will be around for a while, so I could see this going a long way in a spirit stack. Thunder Ear, another gross art, is 3 MP for a 4/2. Death, give +3 HP to a random friendly spirit unit. I like this, right? Spirits want to die and trigger and, do all this. What's better than 3 MP plays? Not much. And then the give of +3 HP? That just seems like gravy. So if you want to play spirits, Thunder Ear seems very good. Creepy Lockjaw, 4 MP for a 2/7 with slow. Counter damage +2. It is a spirit. So 4 MP for a 2/7 with counter damage 2 is pretty good stats. It's a spirit, and we do care about spirits, especially in black. However, it has slow. Black doesn't really care about slow. Maybe if there's a multicolor slow deck, purple-black, maybe slow will play a factor, but I kind of don't think slow will be playing a factor with this card. I think that will just be a pure negative, and therefore, I don't really know. The counter damage is nice. This can be a pretty good wall because it will be dealing like 4 damage as a wall, and that is kind of nice. So maybe if you really need a 4 MP play, you'll play Lockjaw, but I'm not super excited about this one. Up next, we have a creepy shark crab, or is it a crab using a shark as a shell? Not quite sure. Anyways, it is a 4 MP 4/3 spirit. When a friendly unit dies, gain +2 HP. I kind of like this card. This card seems fun. Yet again, I'm really liking... I don't always love death effects, but with black, that has ways to kill its own units and like sacrifice its own units with Ascend or Selfless Predation or Mad Massacre, stuff like that, and just spirits with Resurrection and stuff like that. This could go a long way. 4 MP, once something dies, it's 4 MP for a 4, 5. That seems pretty darn good. I kind of like this Shark Crab. Saboro is 4 MP for another Spirit Crab. This one is 1/7. When a friendly unit dies, gain +2 attack. I like this crab quite a bit. I think I like it more than the Shark Crab because a 1/7 means that it will stick around for a little bit longer right off the bat. It's less fragile, where this could just get killed right off without getting any of the death effects. But it getting +2 attack can go a long way and they're both 4 MP, so they're both the same curve fillers. So spirits are kind of seeing some really good 3-drops, some really good 4-drops. Getting excited. Next up, we're talking about the black action, starting with the legendary. It's Curse Extraction, 6 MP. This card gains the following effects based on the number of times friendly units have died this battle. 4 times or more, give all friendly units +2/+2 and destroy this unit after 1 attack. So humongous, +2/+2 is a lot of stats, so this will hit hard just for 1 attack though. 7 times or more, give all enemy units -5 HP. -5 HP is a lot. And yet again, this is not damage, this is -5 HP, so this could kill a 1/5 with shield or something like that. 13 times or more, for 30 seconds, your hero gains whenever a friendly unit dies, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Your hero gains life equal to the damage dealt. That's a lot, especially all your units on the battlefield are going to die after they attack once. So, pump up everything, they attack once, they hit for a lot, they die, you drain your opponent for more and you gain life, and then you just board wipe them. This has a lot of power going for it. The big question we have to ask ourselves is, how many times in a average Teppen game, or specifically an average Teppen game that you're playing black, maybe with spirits, maybe without spirits, are your units dying? 4 times or more seems very easy to achieve in most any deck. 7 times is definitely a mid game. 13 times is a lot. A Teppen deck is only 30 cards, and you're usually never just playing 30 action, or 30 units. So 13 times is a whole heck of a lot. But spirits want to resurrect from the grave, come back, die again, come back, die again, and do that whole song and dance, or revenge effects, stuff like that, should rack up that death count. So if you can get that death to 13, this seems like a really powerful card that is giving you a ton of value. Fox in Sheep's Clothing, 3 MP, give a friendly unit +1/+1, and death, give all enemy units -2 HP. This is kind of an interesting one. So it's kind of a pump spell. However, 3 MP for just +1/+1 is something I would never play. The death effect is pretty nice because it's all enemy units. It's not your units, it's not just one enemy unit, it's all of them. -2 HP is not a ton, and you do have to wait around, and your opponent will know what unit has this ability, so maybe they don't play anything, and then they can kind of play around it, and whenever you give your opponent choices to play around something, that is usually not great. So the effect is strong, but it's giving your opponent a lot of leeway, so overall, I don't really love this card. Deadly is 2 MP, place a random spirit unit with an MP cost of 4 or less in your graveyard onto the field, give that unit destroy after 1 attack. Yet again, I've been talking about spirits just want to come back from the grave, die again, and do that whole song and dance. If that's what you want to do, then Deadly seems really good, right? You can get something that is a 4 cost or a 3 cost with a good death ability or attacking ability and just get a lot of value, especially that this is just 2 MP. That is very cheap. Power Beyond Gods, 6 MP, destroy an enemy unit with an MP cost of 6 or less. If there is a friendly unit on the field, distribute 6 points randomly between units' HP and your hero's life. So this is removal. Hard removal, but it does have to be 6 MP or less. And then, as long as you have at least one unit, it's an HP buff / life gain. That seems really good. The big question is black has a lot of removal spells, especially hard removal at 6 MP, like obliteration and stuff like that. Where is this better than those cards? Not quite sure. In a spirits deck where some have very low HP, possibly. However, this is kind of meta dependent. If there's tons of big things that are more than 6 MP, then I don't really want to be playing this card. If there's not, and I'm playing a lot of units that I want the pump spell, then I could see playing this card for sure. Gathering Evil, 2 MP, give a friendly black unit Revenge, gain +2/+4, and then destroy it. This card's kind of interesting. Revenge is a very, very powerful mechanic. +2/+4 is a lot of stats. However, you have to destroy it right away. That doesn't seem fantastic. But there can be combos with, perhaps a slow tyrant or something with death effects, stuff like that. That could be really good overall. Or just like throw this on a devil, right? Then the devil becomes, 4 MP +2/+4? Yes, you do have to draw it again, so it is kind of a wait and see, and that can be really hard. This card does not do anything to affect the board or your opponent's board right off the bat. That makes me a little bit down on it, but man, is there potential for it. But I kind of think that not affecting the board is a little bit too much for me to really want to play this card. To the Underworld, 3 MP, destroy an enemy unit with an MP cost of 3 or less. So right off the bat, we have to compare this to Fate of the Unworthy, which is a 3 MP removal spell for anything that's 4 MP or less. So right there, it is worse than Fate. However, it says if 13 or more friendly units have died this battle, instead destroy an enemy unit with an MP cost of 5 or less. So it's 3 or less or 5 or less. So it's 1 more or 1 less than Fate. How easy and how often are you really going to turn on the 13 death triggers is going to depend how good this is. Even if you can turn on the 13 death triggers, that's going to be a very late game or late mid game to late game play, and sometimes you need to kill a 4-drop right off the bat because it's beating you down. So push comes to shove right now, I don't think this is better than Fate of the Unworthy, but if I can build a spirits deck that can really rack up the death triggers and that you don't really care to turn on your removal until late game, then maybe this could surprise me. But right now, Fate of the Unworthy is still just too efficient to ignore. Return from the Dead, 5 MP, place a random unit from your graveyard onto the field. Ouroboros? Perhaps. Yes, 5 MP is kind of expensive because we usually have cheaper ways to do that, like Forced Rebirth. But this is no questions asked. It is just like, hey, take a card from your graveyard, put it back onto the battlefield. It doesn't get -1/-1 or anything like that, and your opponent doesn't get anything back. So there's no hoops to jump through as they were with some other resurrection spells. I don't think you really want to be playing this in a spirits deck because there's a lot of like 4 and 3 MP cost spirits. What I'm thinking about is I want to spend 5 MP to get back an 8 MP play or even a 6 MP play. I'm kind of excited to throw this in Ouroboros and see how it goes. Demon Hands is up next. It is 3 MP, destroy an enemy unit with 5 HP or less. This is an interesting one because a lot of removal spells either deal damage or care about MP cost. Black usually cares about MP cost. This does not. This cares about HP. So your opponent could have an 8 MP play that now has 5 HP. That seems really good. However, I think this will kind of depend on the meta of how many things will Demon Hands hit. To be fair, 5 HP is not that low of amount. 5 HP is a pretty healthy life total, especially in like a deck with zombies or spirits or something like that, that maybe like the zombie hits a big dude that had 8 HP, now it has 5 HP, now you can Demon Hands. Yes, that's kind of a 2-for-1, but sometimes you're okay with the 2-for-1 because you're playing black units that, once they die, you're getting value. So I'm pretty excited for Demon Hands. Incense of Doom, 1 MP, send all cards in your opponent's EX pocket to their graveyard. I'm off this card very, very fast. It is super situational because your opponent has to have things in their EX pocket for this card to do anything. a lot of times your opponent will not have anything in their EX pocket. Also, just because something's in their EX pocket doesn't mean it's good cards. So you are spending a card. Yes, it is only one MP play, but it's still a card in your deck, and you can only have 30 cards. So I don't actually think this makes sense to include. Even though it's super cheap, it's still a cost, and the cost is that as soon as you add this, it is taking away card slots in your deck for other better cards. Fox Rods is 1 MP. Send 2 cards from your deck to the graveyard. Give a friendly unit +1/+1. So this is another mill card. Mill cards have seen some good play because some black cards or black decks love to have cards in their graveyard like Ouroboros or maybe spirits that you can resurrect cards and stuff of the like. However, I don't know. This card seems fine, right? But also you're only getting +1/+1. Which is fine, like 1 MP for +1/+1 is fine. So if you want a pump spell, like maybe, you know what, maybe I'm thinking about this card kind of wrong. Maybe this is going to go in like a purple-black aggressive deck where rather than, sacrificing life for pump spells, you just mill a couple cards, and that could go a long way. So, but to be fair, in those decks, you don't really care about the HP, you want more attack. So there's probably other better things to be doing. I don't know. Fox Rods could see some play, but it's a big maybe for me. The last card we get to talk about is Sweet Revenge. It is 4 MP. Give 1 random unit in your graveyard +2/+2 and put them in the EX pocket. I don't really like this card. 4 MP is kind of a lot for this effect in my opinion, because usually I would much rather have, rather than +2/+2, minus MP, a reduction of 2 MP or something like that. But to spend 4 MP to get something to your EX pocket, yes, +2/+2 is a lot, but if you have something in your EX pocket now that costs 5, you spent 4 MP to get a 5 MP play that then you have to wait around to play that, and yes, it gets +2/+2, but that just does not seem as efficient, and I want to play the most efficient cards that you really can. But that is it for the set review. Black seems to have a lot of really good cards, to no one's surprise, especially since Oichi is the new hero and spirits are kind of a tribe that is getting a lot of love. Now the big question is, even though black is getting good things, how good are they, and how good can spirits actually be? I am really excited. I love to do the set reviews, just because it's fun to get my initial thoughts down there and also just really get the brain critically thinking about what seems good, what seems bad, and also what I want to start brewing with. Right off the top of my head, I want to start playing Oichi decks, especially spirit decks and purple slow decks and green life gain decks. That is kind of my to-do list, and I'm getting really excited to start brewing with some new cards. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.